Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name's Tanya, and I had promised you a recipe using some of the pasta that we just made the other day, but I was going to make a different kind of lasagna. I was just going to make traditional Italian lasagna, which I might make later on, but the idea popped in my head today as I was walking the dogs. You know what I hadn't had in a long time? That's pizza lasagna, and pizza lasagna is so good. Now, if your kids if you have children that eat with you as in your family, or you have grandkids, somebody like that, that says, I don't like lasagna, just tell them it's pizza. It's pizza lasagna. It has all the ingredients of pizza, but it's in lasagna form. So let's get started. I want to share this with you, and this is exciting. I'm going to make this tonight, but I'm not going to bake it off until maybe tomorrow or the next day. So this will be something in the refrigerator. Thank goodness I have room to put something in there right now because we keep eating leftovers recently. So we're going to start out. This is some noodles that I made here a while back. These are the lasagna noodles I made yesterday in the prior video we just did the other day. And then I have more lasagna noodles over on the table because I decided I don't know if that's enough to make the traditional lasagna or not, so I just made another half batch. So all that being said, we're going to get started. The first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of olive oil in our pan, just enough to just kind of wet the bottom of it so the stuff won't stick. I'm going to spread this around. And the nice thing about olive oil, coconut oil, butter, stuff like that, is once you get it in the pan, you don't have to rush over and wash your hands. You just rub it in. That's what cooks do, keep their hands nice and shiny. Okay, I'm reading these directions as we go. It's been a while since I've made this, but it's not like I'm oblivious to it, but I just don't recall every recipe word for word. So what we're going to do is, I'm kind of winging it on this because this says to use 15 ounces of pizza sauce that you can make on your own or just use jarred kind, preferably something that's a cleaner one, a better choice. This is an organic, just garden vegetable. This is pasta sauce. It's not even pizza sauce, just pasta sauce. It's all the same thing, really and truly. This says 15 ounces of pizza sauce plus a 14 and a half ounce can of tomatoes seasoned with green peppers and onions. So you know what? I'm not going to. I'm just going to use this jar. This is a bigger jar of it, and this is what we're going to substitute for that. So I'm going to need help in getting this open. See if I can use my handy dandy jar opener. Nope, that's not working. All right. There we go. Notice I was not banging on the jar. I just tapped on the jar enough to break that seal around the edge. All right, that's being set aside. We have in this bowl right here, I just mixed up a while ago, this is 15 ounces of ricotta cheese, which is like a super smooth, if you took cottage cheese and put it in a blender, this is what it would look like. That's what ricotta is. And you'll find it next to the cottage cheese and sour cream, things like that in your supermarket. I took 15 ounces of ricotta cheese and mixed in a teaspoon of dried Italian seasoning. Now you can probably buy just dried Italian seasoning in the spice section. I make my own out of just a few ingredients, and it's super easy to do, but just use what you have. We're going to set that aside. Let's see. To assemble, spread a fourth of the tomato sauce mixture, which is this. We're just going to put a blob of it in the bottom here. And arrange 3 lasagna noodles over that. Now these are not necessarily lasagna noodles. We're going to put this together like a mason would put together stones if they were building a sidewalk or something. We're just going to kind of piece them together as they'll fit in there. Oopsie, don't eat that, Zoe. Zoe, leave it. And that, my friends, is the reason you pay for obedience school for your dogs. Zoe, leave it. And I shouldn't even have to tell her twice, but she keeps looking at it like, but it's still laying there. Okay, so we're basically just going to cover the bottom of the pan. Let me scoot that over here so she won't keep thinking she's still wondering what to do with it. Okay, we're going to put the noodles down. So if you have just store-bought lasagna noodles from a box, just take 3 of those noodles and put down in your pan. This is a 12 by 8 inch casserole dish. So if you're wondering, that's what size this is. Let's see. Spoon half of the ricotta mixture over it and then top with half a cup of mozzarella. Zoe, go. Back up. She's so confused. It's too tempting to her. Okay, so half of the, let me read it again. Half of the ricotta mixture and then half a cup of mozzarella. We have our mozzarella over here. Now notice these lasagna noodles are not cooked. I never cook my lasagna noodles. I don't care what kind of lasagna I'm making. I do not cook them. They soak up all the ingredients in what you have. You're not going to bite into a hard noodle when you eat this. You're not going to bite into something you think is raw because this has been cooked once you have a finished product. I remember when I was first married, or actually first learning how to cook, I guess, before I was ever married, I tried making lasagna and I thought, why do people mess with it? This is such a mess. Because the lasagna noodles were climbing all over the place and I was dropping them and it was just so drippy and so many pans and it was ridiculous. And then somebody, I don't even remember who it was, after I'd gotten married said, you know, you don't have to cook those. And let me tell you, I was a machine putting out the lasagna at that point because I love Italian food. And if it was going to be that easy, I'm in. And I was. It has never been the same. Never have cooked noodles since. So there you go. There's your hint for this video. All right, so half a cup of mozzarella. I just have a little over 8 ounces. I had an 8-ounce bar and then a little bit left over from another one, so I put all that in there. Just gonna layer that around. Next thing we want to do is 1/3 of the pepperoni slices. Now I'm going to show you this kind. If you can find this kind at your supermarket, good for you, because not a lot of places carry it, but they really are very, very good. This is Applegate Naturals brand. This is uncured, and that's the key. Even if it's not this brand, look for it uncured because that's going to have no nitrates or nitrites in it, which are known carcinogens. And it sounds as bad as it is. So if you can stay away from the cured meats, that would be a better choice in your product. Being a little bit healthier. In fact, a lot healthier. Okay. So this recipe calls for 7 ounces of pepperoni slices. I don't know that I'll use 7 ounces, but we're just going to kind of wing it. Let's see, put 1/3 of the pepperoni slices. So I don't really know what 1/3 is. I'm just going to put them down here kind of in a polka dotted pattern. When my daughter was little, every time she'd see me get out pepperoni out of the freezer, she would ask if she could have a frozen pepperoni slice. I never did understand that, but to this day, at 22 years old, she will say, oh, I love frozen pepperoni slices. So, bless her. It's just the little things. Now, when I find these on sale, I'll go ahead and buy a lot of them and put them in the freezer. So this may have a date, an expiration date from last year. Not a big deal. These have been frozen. They always stay in the freezer, and they're perfectly fine to use them in that frozen state in this. This is going to get cooked. All right, next thing we're going to do is, let's see. We're going to put a cup of the sauce. I'm not used to talking and cooking at the same time, so I'd get totally thrown off. This is not normal. I mean, I talk to my dogs, but they don't care what I'm saying. But my husband's forever going, do you realize what you said in that video? I'm like, I'm not surprised, because I'm focusing on cooking, yet trying to explain things to you, the viewer, in a common sense way. And trust me, I realize it's not very common sense, and it probably doesn't make sense a lot of times, the wackadoodle things that come out of my mouth when I'm trying to do something other than just talk. So I apologize for any mistakes just ahead of time. Now I've covered my bases. All right, put part of that on there. I think I just stepped on the lasagna noodle that I've tried scooting over here. So, all right, the mushrooms, olives, and bell peppers. So this calls for a half a cup of chopped green bell pepper. And if there's people in the audience that if you say, I don't like green bell peppers, I like red ones, trust me, there's something about the flavor of the green ones that just enhance this. I love red ones too. I love orange ones, but I love the really unripe green ones in this recipe. It's just absolutely perfect. Just gonna sprinkle them lightly in there, just part of those. These are the black olives. This calls for a small can of black olives. I'd used a larger can of black olives for something the other day, so this is just what's left from that. And we love us some black olives in this household. And then either fresh mushrooms or canned mushrooms, and there is definitely a difference in flavor. I do realize that, and I'm just fond of all kinds of mushrooms, so whatever kind you prefer, just go with that. This calls for just a small can of sliced mushrooms, or about 3 sliced fresh mushrooms. And again, get your family involved. If kids are wanting to learn how to cook, this is fun because there's not really anything they can goof up too much, because it's basically just assembling. All right, repeat the layers until all you're left with is the Parmesan. So we're going to put another layer of noodles. These look like sun chips. For some reason, there's ridges in these, and I don't remember what I put them on to roll them out, but something had ridges on it, and these look just like those potato chips called sun chips. And they're about as loud as sun chips too, because man, those are some crunchy, crunchy, crunchy things. I remember those because we used to eat those. Anytime something makes a loud noise that we're trying to open and be quiet, shh. And then you open a package and it's really loud, we laugh about it being a sun chip bag, because that's like the loudest bag in the history of the world. All right, let's see. We'll put, we'll do the ricotta next. I think I'm putting too few layers in here, so I may have to throw in another layer of the pasta because I'm using too much of my ingredients in each layer. But that's okay. It's all going to go in there. Whatever order you want to put these in, just put them in that order. back there. If these were whole noodles, I'm sure this would be easier to spread. I just like making it extra hard on myself, especially when there's a camera on. All right, now we'll put this. Okay, I'm going to put another layer of noodles down. I may just scatter these broken ones over it. And that pasta sauce should be soaked into those noodles pretty good by the time this thing gets baked. These I made yesterday. Just dried overnight. They were pretty nice. I must have made these other ones out of semolina because these look a lot more yellow. No, I take that back. I take that back. These are egg noodles I made here a while back. I remember now. Well, I remember part of it anyway. That's why they're yellow, because there's eggs in them. I have some little random pieces in here. Okay, I think we're good on the pasta. Now, we're going to top this with more pepperoni. Okay, this has only turned out to be using one package of this, and not even really a whole package. About 3 pieces left that just don't fit on there. So we'll put those back in the freezer. All right, on goes the rest of our pepper, our green pepper. Then our olives. Then the rest of our mushrooms. And then we're going to put the rest of our mozzarella on the top. And then I'm going to show you this big chunk of mozzarella, or not mozzarella, the Parmesan that I told you about, our foreign exchange student that lived with our neighbors last year. And he got back to Italy after going back home after the school year and sent these beautiful foods from where he lives in Italy. And so my neighbors didn't want to keep all the items themselves. They wanted to share them with us, which is what we do with them as well. And they wound up bringing me this chunk of Parmesan. I thought I'd had a dream and I didn't even want to wake up. I was so excited. So I'm fixing to show you that chunk of Parmesan. Okay, you ready? This, and I've already used part of it. This is that chunk of Parmesan. Parmigiano Reggiano. Not just Parmesan, but Parmesan Reggiano. This is incredibly good. I mean, guys, it's good. I usually try to break a piece of it off, but I'm to the thick part, so I can't really break it off that much. That looks like a stone. Isn't that beautiful? That is just the coolest thing ever. I was so excited when my neighbor brought that to my door. It was kind of like Ed McMahon showing up with the Publishers Clearinghouse check for me. I don't know about y'all, but that cheese got me excited. Okay, this calls for just 2 tablespoons of fresh grated Parmesan cheese. So we're going to put this over the top. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not going to bake this tonight. We're not having this for dinner tonight. We are probably going to have it in the next couple of days. Today's Friday, so we may have it Sunday for lunch after church. That's usually the most difficult day to try to hurry up and get home and try to get something done, and everybody's hungry and trying to get out of your clothes so you won't get them all messed up by fixing lunch and trying to get the table set. And if we have lunch guests, which we normally do, but this coming Sunday is Father's Day, and so we likely will not be having lunch guests unless it's somebody who doesn't have a dad anymore, and then I will automatically be drawn to those people and encourage them to come home with us. Because nobody likes to spend a holiday alone if it's supposed to be celebrating somebody that you don't have. All right. This is, I had a viewer comment on the way I was using this grater the other day, and they said if you'd hold it upright or a certain way, and I said, well, this grater actually went through our house fire 17 years ago, and it's kind of wonky in that it bends because it has little cracks in it from going through the house fire. So I can't really do much with it other than just pull it toward me if I'm grating something large. But it's more like it's almost like a rasp. It's like a big zester. It's not really just a grater. But they understood why I was holding it like that once I'd explained to them that it had been through a house fire. Just a little too sentimental to get rid of. And yes, it was this house that burned. We live in an old house that looks like a new house because it has all new parts to it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you for this video. Hopefully I'll remember to video this when we start cutting into it, or at least once I take it out of the oven. Mental note, video the pizza lasagna when I take it out of the oven, because I want you to see how good this is. This tastes so much like pizza. It's just the funnest thing ever to eat. And as you can see, it's actually fun to make. So get family involved and check this out. But I'll put the recipe in the description. I try to do that with every video that we have unless it's something that doesn't require a recipe. But we will always have the recipe included. If there's a mistake in there, by all means, let me know in the comments. But we hope you give this a try. We look forward to sharing something with you again next time, and thanks for watching.